We'll now get into the panel session right away, and I want to call up the members of the panel session, the panelists for this morning, starting with the Federal Ministry of Health, Dr. Lawrence Anyanwu, Director of Family Planning. Please, a round of applause for him. We can do better, please. Thank you. Let's also have Dr. A.G.K. Orji, the chairman. Please, let's celebrate him. Thank you so much, Dr. Orji. We also have joining them, well, in no particular order, Dr. Joachim Chijide from the UNFPA. You're welcome, Dr. Joachim. We have Dr. Gertrude Odezugo, okay, from the USAID. Dr. Gertrude. All right, also joining them, we have Dr. Nuhu Yusuf. Please join them from NWCA. A round of applause for Dr. Yusuf. Dr. Ebere Anyamchukwu. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Ebere. Okay, and this panel is going to be moderated by Dr. Mariam Jagu, Chairperson Technical Subcommittee, and Dr. Umukum Tum Bajoga from the UNFPA. Please, a round of applause for the moderators as well. All right, so Dr. Mariam, over to you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're still expecting Dr. Ebere Anyachukwu. Okay, maybe you'll be joining us later. For this session is about looking into ahead to 2030 opportunities and positive disruptors. And with me here, let me just first say that let's rest on existing protocol. And we'll be taking this session is about for 30 minutes. We'll have question and answer from the different panelists, and then on we'll open it up for discussion. With me today, I have the FP 2030 focal persons, and the focal persons for FP 2030 are representatives of USAID, Dr. Odezugo. She's the Family Planning Reproductive Health Program Manager with USAID. And also we have Dr. Joachim Chijide. He is the RH specialist with UNFPA, is also a focal person. And the third person will be joining us very soon, Dr. Ebere Anyachukwu. He is the health specialist with the FCDO, the Foreign Commonwealth Development Organization, office. So he will also be joining us much later. And also we have the CSO focal person, and no other person than Dr. A.G.K. Orji. He's been there for a while now, and he's been leading the CSOs very well. Then at the Federal Ministry of Health, who's represented by Mr. Lawrence Anyanwu, is the Director of Family Planning with the Federal Ministry of Health. And from FP 2030, we have the representative, that's Dr. Nuru Yusuf, and is the Program Manager, Advocacy, Accountability, and Partnership Program Manager. Thank you very much. And together, my name is Dr. Mariam Jagu. I'm the chairperson of the Technical Subcommittee, and with me here is Dr. She'll be able to speak herself, so introduce yourself.
Good morning, I'm Dr. Umukum Bajoga from UNFPA.
Yeah, and I think we heard a little bit about FP 2030. Like we said, it's always journey so far. It started with FP 2020, in which 69 countries came together to say they're going to make a commitment to change the scenario of family planning globally. And these 69 countries, way back then, and the London summits actually make a commitment that before 2018, 18, they're going to actually move the needle in making sure that additional 120 women have access to family planning information and services. Nigeria was one of the countries that made commitments at this summit then, and it was, led by the Minister of State for Health then, and we made different commitments in terms of policies, making sure that our policies are in place to be favorable for us to be able to attain this. Also in terms of service delivery, demand creation, we actually make very good commitments for us to do this. The commitment here was 2018, and we said that by that time we'll be able to reach 36% of our modern contraceptive rate. Yes, though we're not able to meet 36% at that time, but we're able to build momentum, and we're able to make sure that we have enough commitments at the national level and the state, towards making the commitment. There was a transition in which Dr. Nuru actually said to 2030, and then, it was determined that yes, the targets we set earlier on was, a little bit ambitious, and there were a little restructuring that was made in devolving more responsibility to the regions, from FP 2030 that was said, and there was also a lot of effort on accountability. I won't want to say much about this. I want to listen, to the FP 2030 focal persons and also from FP 2030. So we'll be willing to more questions, from the audience much later. But for now, let's just ask a few questions from the FP 2030 focal persons, and we'll be starting from the leadership, which is the Federal Ministry of Health. Mr. Young, please, what are the lessons learned as a country at the end of FP 2030 global movement? At the end of FP 2020, what are the lessons that we learned as a country, moving forward, so that we'll be able to define and chart our way forward?
Okay, thank you, moderators, and my co-panelists. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, once again. As the co-chair had said, the FP 2030 partnership agenda is an offshoot or a continuation of the FP 2020 initiative that Nigeria was a strong partner, a strong implementer amongst the countries that were part of the stakeholders. So we featured strongly in that initiative, in the implementation. We were part of the reference group, and at some point, the reference group meeting of the global stakeholders took place in Nigeria. That underscored the seriousness with which Nigeria pursued its participation in the process. We set some targets, the major one being the achievement of, for us to achieve a 36% contraceptive prevalence rate. But at some point, we found out that we were not able to get to that point. So realistically, we asked ourselves some questions and decided to rebase back to 27% modern contraceptive prevalence rate by 2020. And we still found out that it wasn't going to be possible. So we scaled down, we moved it forward to 2024, and presently it forms a major part of our commitment for 2030. So the lesson there is that we were very ambitious, and from the projections we made, we were very confident we were going to achieve it, but we were proved wrong. So a major lesson is that we have been able to now come back to ourselves and set what we think is a more realistic modern contraceptive prevalence rate for the country, 27% by 2030. So we've learned that we need to be realistic. Then the other lesson is the fact that we need strong leadership and for coordination for in-country implementation. And Nigeria did well there. and we want to continue to ride on that. Yes, there are a number of things that we couldn't get right, but we have learned that strong leadership in directing the implementation of the National Family Planning Program is very important. We've also realized that this is not something that one country can do alone. This is not something that the national level can do alone. So we have seen that from the FP 2020 initiative, partnerships, alliances are very important. And we've been building on that, and it formed a major part of how we arrived at our FP 2030 commitment, which is very robust and aligns with other national frameworks and development plans. We also, I need to say this, I have the focal persons, FP 2020 focal persons who have transitioned to FP 2030 focal persons. They were strong and vibrant. We have FP 2030 focal persons for the CSOs, we have for development partners, and we have for the youth. All of them joined forces with the Federal Ministry of Health, with the government, to be able to achieve the modest things we did. So I think we have learned a lot, and those have been incorporated in the process of coming up with the FP 2030 commitment, and we'll further rely on these lessons to be able to drive the implementation process. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anyanwu. Yes, I think one good thing is that we're able to make cost changes, and also we're able to bring more alliances with more people. So, and countries. So I want to say, for the FP focal points, what changes are the partnership made to better position to the needs of countries? I know you said that they formed offices in regions, but what other changes have you made to be able to better meet the needs of countries?
Okay, thank you very much, and once again, good morning. As earlier presented, one of those key changes is the fact that we're moving towards, shifting power to the global south, which includes decentralization of the FP 2030, office. As mentioned earlier, there used to be a single office in the DC which provides support, globally. However, now we have 5 hubs, one in Nigeria, hosted by Population Council. There's another one in Kenya, in Africa, hosted by AMREF. There's another one in Asia, supporting Asia and the Pacific, as well as one that is going to be, open in Latin America. Secondly, there will be stronger coordination and working with government to more directly now, to unpack what they really need to do in terms of programming to push the needle towards achieving the country's family planning goals and targets. This we're going to be doing by, for example, doing more work using high impact practices. Again, there will be stronger and strengthened, CSO coalitions and collaboration with other sectors to promote accountability for the partnership. So these are some of the, things that, FP 2030 is going to be doing to support country governments towards achieving the commitments they've made towards 2030.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know that, you pay some emphasis, on the CSO focal person actually joining us. So I think the next question should go to the CSO focal person. Dr. Ejike, please, which accountability mechanisms are in place for tracking country commitments, and what's the role of the civil society in the FP 2030 partnership for the country?
Yeah, thank you very much. Morning, everyone, once more. In the last commitment, there were lessons learned over the years in terms of the Anglophone focal points meeting about 4 or 5 years ago. We all decided that the first commitment was made in such a way that stakeholders were not carried along. It was like a top-bottom approach. So it was decided that in the new commitment, it would be a bottom-up approach. And that was why in Nigeria, we galvanized the sub-national CSOs, NGOs, and even the media to be part of the recommitment making. And in doing so, 2 key things were done. With support from the Global Office in Washington, D.C. We did 2 clear meetings. One is to sensitize them that this commitment is coming, they should be ready to make their inputs. And that was after the Federal Ministry of Health had announced that a commitment was going to be made. And then also say that this time around that it will be a collaborative effort and led by Dr. Kayode Afolabi, now retired, and made sure that all of us were part of the conversation. What now happened was the second meeting, in fact, actually it was 3 meetings. The second meeting was for us now to agree. These are the commitments the subnationals must make sure made the commitment the federal government was going to make to the world. But most importantly, within that ambit, we developed an accountability framework and plan on how to monitor and hold people accountable at the subnational level. And that was what happened. We have developed, as we speak, we have developed an accountability framework. We have also developed a plan to hold accountable everybody. And then the unique thing about this commitment this time around was that there's a mutual accountability framework that is also put in place. We're not just looking at government. Everybody says accountability all the time, and we keep focusing only on government. There is also a donor accountability framework. There is also a NGOs and civil societies accountability framework, including international development partners who are IPs of donors. So in that way, we make sure that everybody is held accountable for whatever you're supposed to do. If you are a donor and you're giving your money, you must make sure that the money is used for what you had proposed it to be. So that's the only way we can all meet our goals. So in Storm, this is what has happened. And as we speak, domained in the AFP, which is the lead organization for all CSOs in FP space, we have developed, or we're developing by January to be ready, in partnership and funded by UNFPA and PPFN. We're developing an accountability scorecard for making sure that the CSOs will use that to hold accountable people at the subnational level. And this is also within this space. We're also pleading with our partners and donors that this is the time to support the subnational CSOs to have the resources they can use to make that happen. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I think, it's good that we have opportunities of learning and, making cost changes in our programs, so that we can actually reach the target of 27% by 2030. And one of the changes, like you said, is that the CSO was also involved in this. So we want to also, let's say, we look ourselves. I know that, we've talked a lot. We had a presentation on where we are in terms of our trend. And, we have to, really buckle up. But if we want to really look at ourselves, as a country and put us on the center stage, USAID has had a long bilateral relationship with governments of Nigeria over time. I think it pre-exists before my time, in development world. So I want to say, and I'll put this across to Dr. Gertrude Odezugo. How best do you think Nigeria could prioritize its family planning activities to accelerate its target indicators? Let's put Nigeria in the center stage and looking at it, how do you think we should prioritize so that we can be able to at least reach our target and make sure that we don't miss the ball by 2030, which actually aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals of 2030?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Moore. I think, first of all, just borrowing from what others have said, especially what government has said, I think we are on the right trajectory in the sense that government has been able to commitments or coordinate the partnerships, especially at national level. You know, putting in place strategies, policies, what indicators we should be collating. And I think the other major step that government has led is support at subnational level. You know, supporting states to figure out what their priorities should look like and helping them to navigate a way forward. And I think the FE 2030 group is also doing a great job in that, you know, just very recently, UNFPA and USAID, you know, put together an FP coalition group, you know, because we realize that there is a lot happening. And like you said, Mariam, some of us have been here for decades, and we realize that it's about time we figure out exactly what each person is doing, and it's very critical that we are not doing the same thing in the same places. And when we say the same places, we realize the importance of focusing at subnational level. So like I said, there's leadership, there's coordination, there's also commitment. You can see the commitment in support, trying to figure out, segment audiences, segment areas, people with needs in the various localities. But however, I feel like a lot still needs to be done, especially with funding for commodities. We all have sat down together and figured that where we are on the S curve, what we need now to push to be able to even make any headway to achieving 27% MCPR is that we need to increase access. Demand generation, a lot of that is already happening. We know that that is one key area. USAID, for instance, is in quite a number of states and has generated enough demand. We have women and their husbands, you know, going into health facilities, PHCs, and seeking family planning services. And we have the data. But where I think we need to focus more on is strengthening the quality of that data, because you need data to make decisions. And it's garbage in, garbage out, right? And then secondly, ensuring that the commodities are available. The National has been doing a lot, you know, in trying to ensure that commodities are funded, you know, and quite a number of us take these commodities down to the last mile, but it's not enough. And so my call will be that one major priority is at subnational level, what can state governments do to increase access to FP commodities, especially where we see that the demand is rising.
So thank you very much, Gertrude. I appreciate this. I think what you're trying to say is that we need to be a bit more radical in the way we do things. What we have been doing has gotten us to where we are right now, and you know it's quite good. We should appreciate ourselves because you know we've all been committed and we've actually had the same goal over time. Yes, and you know moving forward, you know is one of the lessons that we say that you know we've learned over time. Another agency or organization that has been with us for a long time, and I also say predates my time, is UNFPA. And from where UNFPA sits, like USAID, you'll be able to see the country across all country because you work in most of the states in the country. And you've been in supply chain, and you know I think that's one of your niches, apart from you know other program areas. So I want to know. And it's right to what Dr. Desigo actually said. Do you think we are on the trajectory to achieving our goals? Why or why not?
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Dragon, for that question. And I think it's a very important question that needs to be answered today. So I'd like to say that in determining our trajectory, it may not be wise to fixate on only one element of the goals that we've set. So for instance, we know our overarching goal, or one of the goals that we usually like to speak about, is the modern contraceptive prevalence rate. But if you look at our commitments in 2020 as well as in 2030 commitments, what you will find is that there are other goals within the larger goal. For instance, in 2020, we had a goal that spoke to having more health facilities providing services, and we were able to achieve that. So it's not all doom and gloom. Now, when it comes to the modern contraceptive prevalence rate, I would say a simple answer to the question is that we have a lot to do if we are going to be able to achieve that goal. So if we must answer that question, we need to take a look at what the trend has been. And having listened to Dr. Olaru's presentation, a starting point would be in 2018, we had 12% modern contraceptive prevalence rate. And this was just 2 percentage points above the last, that's the NDHS before that. And NDHSs are conducted every 5 years. So it would mean that on the average, we achieved 0.4% every year. Now, if we were to say that between 2018 and 2030, if we assume that we continue on that same trajectory, we would only achieve roughly between 4.8 to 5.2 by 2030. So there's a lot to be done. And why are we not achieving what we need to be achieving? I mean, it's really about doing a lot more. I would say we're doing a lot, but we're not yet doing enough. The question is, we have a lot of policies in place, very good policies. Are we all collectively supporting the government of Nigeria to implement those policies? If we develop these policies collectively, it is also our responsibility to implement those policies collectively. So I don't think we're doing enough in terms of implementing our good policies. Are we investing enough? The answer again is no. We need to invest a lot more in specific areas, particularly some areas of work or some work streams that are often neglected. We have areas such as social and behavioral change communication. We have areas such as strengthening the supply chain. Are we addressing the social norms? Are we really working, are we doing the best in terms of working with our interfaith community to address those concerns? And then finally, sustainable financing. What really is our goal in terms of ensuring that government can sustainably finance all the interventions that get us to our goal? So I would say we're not yet there in terms of the trajectory. There's a lot more to do, but I think that this decade of action gives us the best opportunity, to get our acts together and get ourselves back on the right trajectory. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I like that. We are doing a lot, but we are not doing enough. I think that's a slogan. We are doing a lot, but we are not doing enough. So we need to also work, in terms of a partnership, data, financing, so that we'll be able to be sustainable. We also have to work in a partnership so that, at least there's mutual accountability, like, has been said by other panelists also. So I think as a Nigeria, we need to, at least we have a goal now. So focusing on the goal, we have all the policies in place. And Dr. Olaru also said it, that if you look at the blueprints and look at, all the documents she has, things that, if we're able to translate this into, programs, then we'll be able to achieve, our goal of 2030. We are not doing badly. It's where we're getting to now, but, and this is an opportunity to reassess ourselves and see how we're actually going to move beyond this. Sorry, I'll take one or two questions before we wrap this up, before Dr. Umu actually wraps this up. I hear our time is up, so I don't know whether we could take one or two questions, from the audience. So how do I take this? So one, so can you please, two? Yeah, three. Oh, okay, so four. So when I when take questions, please just go straight to the question, and all protocols duly observed has been observed. So just go straight to the question so that I'll be able to move forward. Thank you very much. So we'll take the first question from him. So can we get the mic?
Hello. Hello. Good morning. I think I have the mic already.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Nwangu Yudora Uwechukwu. I am the convener of Silent Voices Nigeria. It's a group of young activists who are organizing themselves to find out how to solve their possible problems within their own resources. So I liked the comment that one of the panelists made. We are doing well, but we are not doing enough. So if we actually want to connect the dots, we have to try to identify the gap so that we'll be able to connect the dots and move towards our goals. So what am I trying to say is that at the ongoing, we still see young people as beneficiaries and victims. But then at this point, we need to realize that young people are also stakeholders and partners in actions. So we need to give young people more opportunities to develop their own ideas. We need to fund the participation of young people, especially in this conference. I am looking forward to those young people who submitted their abstract that was selected that are able to pay the registration fee to attend these conferences. So those are the things we need to look into. Investing in young people to actualize their ideas in helping to solve the problem. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Professor Adima, yes. Thank you. Sorry, can you please give him the mic?
Thank you very much. My name is Brian Adima, Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Nnamdi Azikiwe University. I'm also a member of the Board of Trustees of AFP and the President of Association of West African Societies of Obstetrics and Gynecology. First of all, let me say I have been attending this National Family Planning Conference for a long time. I've also been a practitioner of medicine for 43 years. And every time I have an opportunity to talk, I feel sad because of our performance over the years. I'm also culpable, as it were. Now, I see a situation of randomness in the system. In science, we say entropy. Entropy is the degree of randomness in a system. And I see Dr. Ejike leading the CSOs. And I see Mr. Lawrence coming from the government angle. And I see a lot of us supporters from international agencies. And I see the amount of energy that we are imputing into making progress. And over a period of the past 8 years, 6 to 8 years, we have not moved significantly in terms of our ultimate projection, which is a contraceptive prevalence rate, originally put at 36%, proposed at 36%, then brought down to 27% by 2020, and again to 27% by 2030. And we ask ourselves, what is the problem? There are fundamental issues. Have we actually done a stakeholder mapping at grassroots level? There are grassroots stakeholders. And I've always talked about family planning from 4 perspectives. The first, acronym STAR, services, training, advocacy, and research. In these 4 areas, there are grassroots stakeholders that we must reach out to. And until we're able to do that, we shall still be operating in a trajectory of entropy, randomness in the system. Now, fundamentally, I mentioned Dr. Ejike and I mentioned Lawrence. These are leaders, as it were, in this field that we are into. Leader from the government point of view, leader from the CSO point of view. Now, there is a basic principle of strategic leadership. The basic principle of strategic leadership is predicated on shared vision. Now, shared vision enables ordinary people perform extraordinary tasks To what extent have we been able to share our vision with everybody? I'm in the university system. If I bring out about 30 or 40 of some of my students, I can tell you they will not know anything about what we are talking about. They have not seen the blueprint. They've not seen the projection. They don't even know about FP 2030. And so I'm saying, I'm indicted too. I want to tell you that. We need to go back to the drawing box, as it were. Get back to the grassroots, get back to the fundamentals, and then bring all these things that we're talking about, share it with everybody. And we can be on the same platform, and we can now move towards a positive trajectory. Over the past 1 week, I have been developing, I have asked myself, have I done enough? And I'm trying to develop certificate course in family planning in my university, and also master's and PhD program in sexual and reproductive health and rights. Of course, I need partnership. I can bring up all these proposals, but if I don't have the wherewithal to move it forward, it goes down and dies away like that. So let us see a situation where we can do a stakeholders mapping, particularly at grassroots level. When we talk about grassroots, we talk about grassroots community, secondary schools, medical schools, nursing schools, sociology, people who are interested in this area. These are the grassroots people that we push forward our agenda. And believe you me, I even wonder, how did we even arrive at 36% in the first place? How did we even project 27% in the second place? I mean, you cannot just sit down and say, oh, it's good to dream. It's good to have a vision. But whatever vision you're projecting should be predicated on facts. That is why I'm very, very happy at the presentation that was made by Fumi. Presentations, these are aspects of research, which is one of the 4 legs that have proposed. Clinical services, training, advocacy, and research. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I think they just told me that we have less than 5 more minutes. We'll just take one question. It's going to be a short one. So if you know your question is going to be very short,
Yeah.
Don't rest on existing protocol, please.
All right.
Okay,
So,
yes.
Okay.
From a woman, let's take from a lady. I think we had one lady. Okay, let's take from a lady. Just one question.
Thank you.
Let's it very short.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Keita Umu, Senior Policy Advisor for PLB. I'm based in Dakar, where we have our Office for Regional, for West and Central Africa office. My question is for the Federal Minister of Health. I learned from the 2 presentations that one of their lessons from FP 2020 was that we have, ambitious objective. So increase of modern family planning rates by 1.5 per year is a great rate. So I'm curious to know what really changed. What really changed in terms of resources mobilization. You talk about a partnership you have with donors like UNFPA or USAID, but in terms of resource mobilization, what is really changed, including domestic mobilization resource? Thank you.
So thank you very much. You know what? We may not be able to take more questions for now. You know what? We have community groups, virtual community groups in which you can join, and the panelists and also presenters later on will be on these community groups, virtually, and they'll be able to respond to more questions. Because, we're pressed for time. We know that, this is much sought after, but this is a number of questions to be able to take. So the first question, I know you mentioned about partnerships and that the partnership knows no boundary, is going beyond organizations, is going beyond persons, and is related to what Professor Adima actually said. But before we do that, let's take the one on young persons first. So they're talking about young persons and their partnership. I'll take that to Dr. Ejike. I know we've always said, we always focus on young people and adolescents, and that's why we actually created the pre-conference day for the adolescents and the youth. But, she's saying that they need more engagement in terms of their partnership. And she cited one example that they may not be able to pay, for the conference registration. So can you say a little bit about what he has been doing on youth partnership?
Yes, thank you very much. I think at that AFP level, we've decided that the youth has to be fully engaged. And it's not just the youth. There's a strategic assessment we did and then looked at who are the main drivers of rapid population growth. And the drivers in the sense, people who can contribute and people who can also change the narrative. The first we identified was the youth. Like I earlier on mentioned, the people that will drive our population to 450 million are already born. If people like me, Professor Adema, our BOT chairs, say we are no more procuring, these young people here, they are the ones that are going to drive our population to 450 million. And that's why strategically AFP focused on them. And I'll tell you what we have done. In this meeting, we encourage partners. Partners paid for a lot of you to come to this meeting. I don't know whether the young lady has that information. We also strategically, SWAG is a youth-led organization. Out of the 8 people they say they want to sponsor, we gave them 7 free slots to be able to attend instead of paying the fee. And then also during the pre-conference, they came, no, but they weren't charged anything for the pre-conference. We were there 2 days ago. It was a very wonderful meeting. And then in order not to pay lip service to it, at the board level, in the last stakeholders meeting, and then the combined management committee and BOT meeting, AFP decided by next year, the BOT is going to bring a youth into the leadership of the AFP at the board level. So these are the things we have done to make sure that the youth are incorporated in what we do. We also have a CSO focal point, a youth focal point at the FP 2030. Bless me, Ajani, who is away in Netherlands and is about to transit. Everything we do, the time we did the FP 20 commitment, we made sure that youth were invited both from the sub-nationals and then also people around Abuja. So we'll be doing quite a lot to make sure that the youth are involved. But I'm also throwing back to the youth. The youth must also feel responsible. They don't have to wait for people to tell them, come and take. A youthful person or somebody of youth structure or so can also take leadership in everything. We can't continue to say, what are you giving us, what are you giving us? The next question is, what do you want to give back to? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. So you're saying that everybody has, something to contribute. Yep. While you are moving towards and making sure that we engage the youth and we bring them up into the partnership, they also have to be more responsive, also take the leadership position wherever they are, move forward to say that we are ready to join the partnership and make a change. I'll just get through just 10 minutes, just say what you're doing. No, sorry, 10 seconds. 10 seconds, sorry.
Yeah. So, yes, I guess to the lady, the youth that spoke, beyond what government has been doing a lot, there's a national youth policy. The National Population Council is here. They have put down a lot of structures in how to strategically engage the youth and adolescents more. But I'll direct you just somewhere outside. There's a stand, the Youth-Powered Ecosystem to Advance Urban Adolescent Health. It's a program in 2 states in Nigeria, Lagos and Kano State. For want of time, just step outside, go and learn about what we're doing. I already see A360 somewhere on this banner. Just to say that there's a lot that needs to be done. And I joined Dr. Ejike to say, what else do we need to do apart from scaling up some of the lessons we're already seeing in all these activities that we have around the country?
Yeah, thank you very much. So I think next we go to Professor Adema's question about just 30 seconds. I'll give that to Mr. Lawrence in terms of, maybe we just handle the one on dissemination, making sure that, they bring everybody on board, right from the federal level, state, local government, ward, community, individuals, people in academia, so that, we'll be able to form a robust partnership to making sure we're addressing the needs of the women, the youth, and, everybody in general. Okay. So 30 seconds, please.
Thank you. To all those that ask questions, to respond to Professor Adema's question, the initial target we set was derived from the finding of a comprehensive assessment that was done across the country. So it was not just fixed. There were assessments, but when narratives change, Nigeria is hugely populated, and the population has continued to grow. So even a marginal percentage increase in MCPR translates to a huge number. So we shouldn't be unmindful of that. So it's true we have not achieved the target, but then we have made some reasonable progress. Then to answer, just use this to answer all the questions. The FP 2030 commitment was developed with the participation of representatives of all the sectors, including the academia. If you pick the document, you see a long list of those that participated. So it was broad-based, and we harvested ideas and inputs from everyone, women organizations, academia, young persons, and CSOs, faith-based organizations. And one important thing for the lady that asked what we are going to be doing differently. The AP 2030 commitment has one vision statement, which is to ensure that by 2030, everyone in Nigeria of reproductive age should be able to make informed choices and have equitable and affordable access to family planning and participate in society's development. This is taking family planning beyond health. And it is important for us to know that the current National Development Plan, which is driving the socio-economic development of the country, is emphatic about family planning. So what we need to do is to take this as it is, come together, look at the 8 objectives of the AP 2030 commitment and the over 60 strategies which cover all of these our concerns. So if we're able to do that, take the things, the message forward, take the interventions forward based on the 8 objective statements and the 64 strategies or thereabout, I'm sure we are going to be carrying everybody along. And also to the need to involve everybody. We have started the process of, just 2 minutes, just 1 minute. We have started the process of going down to the subnational level to disseminate. And then when we do that, we let the policymakers there know that it is their responsibility to take these things down to the community levels. And yesterday, we have Interfaith Forum where we engaged with our religious traditional rulers, and they are helping us to take it further. So it's a collective responsibility.
I know that the journey started, the journey since 2012. We can't say it all in 30 minutes. We appreciate that. What I'll do is that I will invite you to go to the website of FP 2030, to go to the page for Nigeria and see what Nigeria has submitted and is doing currently from 2012 till now. There's a lot that you can see. There you will see that over 6 million women, are on contraception. If you look at it, and many more, you can see where we are in terms of our CPR and a lot more. And also go to the PMA 20 sites. There's no 2020, it's 20 sites now. So you see, a lot more about what they're also doing. So I'll just give it back to Dr. Umu Bajog. Oh, sorry, I'm going to actually land it. So she's going to summarize this, and we'll close the panel in 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. So I've been given 30 seconds to summarize this very robust discussion. So I would like to say that what has been said so far is based on the lessons we've learned from FP 2020, which was very ambitious, We've now used strong leadership. We've realized the role of partners. We've also got youth and CSOs to be involved in the development of the FP 2030. In addition, a lot of our FP focal persons transitioned from FP 2020 and were able to bring the lessons they have learned to the development of FP 2030. Regarding the accountability mechanisms, we did a bottom-top approach, and we have various accountability frameworks: development, mutual accountability framework, the donor, CSO, and we also have an accountability scorecard to make sure we're on the right trajectory. How to prioritize? The government is being supported to identify and navigate its priorities. This can be done by increasing commitment, leadership, and coordination. To achieve our trajectory, although we're doing much, we need to do more, especially in terms of supporting the government implement its policies, to have more investments in supply chain, and also to do more regarding sustainable financing. So in conclusion, FP 2030 is our destination, and we need to do more to achieve it. Thank you.
So thank you very much. On this, I'll close the panel. I want to thank the panelists for doing a great job, and I encourage you that much has been given, much is also expected. You go into the world and you continue the good work you're doing. Thank you very much.